And you do look back and you kind of go, why was I doing it? And the only thing I could really pinpoint is more of I started something, so not getting to where I want to be is a failure.
What happens when a professional athlete's career ends at 27 and he's forced to rebuild everything from scratch? Matt went from sports failure to facing financial ruin during COVID.
But like the COVID period, it was a rough time. It was a rough period for every builder I know.
But sometimes the biggest failures lead to the greatest comebacks.
That probably was the biggest win that we got out of the entire thing. All of a sudden, we're trusted now.
In this episode, we dive deep into Matt's journey, plus he reveals the game-changing software he's developing that could revolutionize the industry. This is the story of how one builder transformed complete failure into industry success through pure determination.
Welcome to the Inspired Builders Podcast, your source for game-changing conversations with Australia and New Zealand's leading builders and industry experts. Each week, we deliver real stories and proven strategies from those who've been in your shoes. Ready to build something remarkable? Let's dive in.
Matt, big thank you for coming along this morning. Firstly, thanks for reaching out back when you did, and then you and I had a chat, and I was like, I was so hard for me not to ask more questions. I was like, okay, I want to save these questions for the podcast. But the journey that you've been through from being a professional athlete to starting running your company, all the learnings that you went through, and then some of the cool stuff that you're involved in now is incredible. So thank you for coming along, and thank you for sharing. And hopefully we leave no stone unturned this morning.
Yep, I'm sure we'll give it a good crack. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah. You and I have discussed this already. We're big believers, and you were at the event on Friday. Big believers in every builder is different. Every story is unique, and definitely a lot of unique factors in your story. Take us back to, because one part of your story, which I found fascinating, was before you got into the rugby scene, your mum actually pushed you into a trade or encouraged that. And sometimes I'll talk to guys and, their parents aren't keen, or they are keen, or they have their parent who's been in the trades. Talking about those early years, and were you keen to jump in and do a trade, or what it looked like back then?
Yeah, so it definitely was my plan B. It wasn't my go-to. I wasn't actually thinking of trades. Was not my first thought. My first thought was I wanted to play rugby league I played from 4 or 5 years old. And that was, like every kid I played with, it was a dream. The trade side definitely come, from my mum, and single mother. She worked as a roof tiler for a while. She did a lot of jobs just to get by. And I think for her, it was important we had a backup if things didn't pan out.
Okay.
Backup
being a trade.
A trade. Yeah. So didn't care what trade it was. Okay. It was just find something you liked and go with it. And I guess at school I liked woodwork and things like that. So being either carpentry or cabinet making, they were two high options for me.
Yeah. The comment that you made your parents, your mum encouraging you to have a fallback, but do something that you enjoy. And you mentioned she was sort of doing anything and everything that sort of she had to. Did she end up finding something that she enjoyed?
It's hard to say.
Okay.
I think, she's did what she had to do. And I think for her, it was about giving us the opportunity to do things. And like a lot of parents and mums and whatnot, they're pretty selfless. So
pretty sacrificial.
Yeah, it's basically what can I do to put food on the table and make sure that you guys can go and do what you want to do. And at that time it was sport for us. So she did all these jobs to make sure she could pay for us to go and play in these tournaments and play sport.
At that age, do you feel like you were appreciative of it? Were you aware of the sacrifices that she was making? Or is it only in hindsight you sort of see that?
It's a bit of both. I think, and definitely hearing from her, she said we were really good kids. We understood when she couldn't afford things, and we would ask for things just like any other kid did. And she was pretty good at explaining, like, we can't afford this and this is why. And we sort of kind of set us up for success in a way because we understood where she was coming from and what the value of money. But then in hindsight now, like it was a much bigger sacrifice than what you could even appreciate as a kid. Knowing the value of money now as well, you look back and go, geez, I don't know how she did it. I really don't. Like the hours she was doing, she was getting us packing lunches, like getting us to school. It was crazy. And then going and roof tiling for an entire day, coming back, getting us to training. We used to ride bikes to training. Wow. She didn't have a car for a while. So it was pretty wild. Yeah.
Wow, man. And so you mentioned from a young age, you knew that you wanted to become a pro athlete and play sport, play rugby. At what stage were you able to take that more formally?
So for me, it kind of works the way for everyone now. It's the same. You get to a point where you get good enough to be recognised. Okay. And then there's an element of luck. The right person has to see you playing well at the right tournament or just game. I had Noel Cleal, Crusher Cleal, see me at a rugby carnival at 16, and I got picked up by Manly at that point, and
Manly down in Sydney.
In Sydney, yeah. Okay. So I moved to Sydney. I think I was 16 and a half.
Was that a big move for you, or were you just caught up in the excitement?
Bit of both. Okay. I was quite lucky. My uncle lives in Sydney. He lives on the northern beaches. He played a few games for Manly as well in the NRL. So it was kind of good. My brother was there as well. He was already there. So
it just made sense. Manly?
He was in the older grades in Manly as well.
Wow,
so
okay. Kind of runs in the family.
Yeah, it just made it much easier as a move too. It's not as daunting. Totally. Like from Bundaberg to Sydney is quite a large move.
That is a big, So, definitely. And then one thing you shared with me off camera is just what your itinerary looked like on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Talk me through that, because that was intense. Yeah. And it wasn't for 1 week that you ran it like that. Yeah. Talk me through what that looked like in those days.
So essentially I was doing a cabinet making apprenticeship, which I started in Bundaberg and continued when I moved to Sydney. Mm-hmm. So I'd be up at 5:30, pack my lunch, go to work an entire day, come home. Sometimes I wouldn't even get home depending on how many hours. I'd go straight out to training by 4:30, and we'd be finished training by 8:30 at night. And I'd have to drive another half hour, 45 home, cook dinner, eat dinner, go to bed, do it all again. Generally 5 days a week, so Monday to Friday. If we played on a Sunday, I'd get to skip the Friday night, but I'd train on Saturday.
Okay.
And that just, for majority of the season.
Okay.
Even post-season, I would train post-season to try and better myself for the next season again. So kind of was never ending.
Wow. What, out of curiosity, just after hearing someone like Dr. Joe Lucan speak on Friday, and I forget the one girl's name, who would train wanting to improve, and after each training session would then shoot another 125 shots. Mm-hmm. Like you said there, even on off season, you'd still be training. What percentage of the team members would do that?
In those younger grades, I guess it's maybe 50-50, to be honest. Okay. Like a lot of the guys that grew up in the area and lived at home and things like that, they, I guess, had the luxury to coast a little bit more. Okay. Whereas particularly my team, we had a lot of guys from country. So Dubbo and things like that. And we were there for this purpose. So for us, it was a little bit different. Yeah. I would train maybe 2 hours every afternoon, sometimes 3 hours, exactly how I would during the season. Okay. Can just continue it on. And it was pretty intense. Even looking back on it now, I finish my days now and I go, geez, back then I would still have a few hours of training. Oh man. But it does have an effect on your body and even your mental state. Like it's
in a good way, bad way.
It burns you out. Okay.
Even hard to wake up and then psych yourself up to go out to site on Monday, sort of thing. Or
I think you do it at the time. When you're in it, it's like anything. When you're in it, you don't notice it.
Yeah, you just do.
You just get it done. You know there's something to be done, and you've got to go. And for me, a lot of the training outside of the season was self-improvement. It was kind of an unhealthy mindset around I just have to outwork the next person. And you know, everyone sees those motivational clips that, you know, no days off and things like that. But it's in reality, it shouldn't be a thing. Okay. No days off should mean, you know, a rest day is still a day.
Yeah, that's part of your schedule.
Yeah.
You need to schedule that in.
Yeah, but as a young kid developing and trying to be the best I can, like it was actually detrimental because I felt like, you know, I'd go to the gym before we had a gym session and I'd do half an hour of something before our gym session started. Yeah. And it can be detrimental, both physically and mentally. So I fell into that trap for sure.
Yeah, it can. I feel like if anyone who's driven, you can very easily fall into that trap and you become obsessed with, I just need to tick that box. Like I just need to get that session in, or I need to be there before anyone else. I need to get this many reps in before everyone else gets there, because then I know I'm better, or I'm working harder. I'm going to go further. I'm going to,
And don't get me wrong, that helped me when I first got to Sydney, because the coach of the next team up, so the under-20s, I was playing 18s, saw me doing that. He kept walking past the gym and he'd see me in there and no one else was there.
Wow.
So that actually was a benefit, I guess.
Yeah, and this is something I was like, when it comes, if we're going to really analyse this, then that's what you did. And in hindsight, you go, it wasn't the best, but it put you into the position to make the most of the next opportunity that came your way. And you talked about luck, and we talked about luck off camera, and literature I've read on luck is it really doesn't exist. But if you're ready to receive the opportunity and make the most of when it's there, it's going to feel pretty lucky and definitely be perceived as luck outside. It'd be interesting if somehow we could AI the algorithm to go, where would Matt be if you didn't do those extra training sessions? You know, if you did have a day off, because that's...
Yeah, like it's one of those questions. It could obviously, I could be nowhere near where I got to, or I could be further ahead, you know. There's definitely a lot of those things that I did early on around the overtraining because I had to work harder than everyone else that contributed to a bunch of injuries.
Okay.
And when I say luck, like at 17, ready to sign a 2-year extension, I did my ACL. And no one was around me. I was just running on the field, ready to make a tackle, and my ACL went. So that's what I mean. You know, there's some lucky things as well and unlucky. On top of that, I've as brutal as the game is, I've had 11 surgeries. And all in the off season. So, generally, you play all year mostly injured, and then you get surgery at the end of the year, which is something a lot of people don't know. The NRL players do the exact same thing. So,
do you think that? What's your opinion on that? Is that just the accepted norm? Do you think it builds resilience? Do you think it's not healthy?
I think it builds determination and resilience for sure. Because a big setback like that, like an ACL is 9 months. At 17, nearly 18 at that time, like I had to really push hard to get myself back. Yeah. With not a huge support network either. Yeah. Definitely in sport, you're treated like a racehorse. So the minute you've got something major like that, now you're off at rehab, you're away from the rest of the team or the community. And
you're a cost.
So then you've got that mental battle again of I'm not with these guys. And it's pretty brutal.
Wow.
But the best way I can put it is that you're a racehorse. Yeah. You're good until you're not. Yeah. And there's another horse ready to take your spot. So, yeah.
Gee, wow.
Yeah.
And so for how long were you down there in that environment?
I was there for nearly 5 years.
Okay. And then what wasn't the ACL? What pushed you to then leave and come back?
I was behind 2 NRL players that were just week in, week out players. Like I was next in line, but I just never got a shot. Okay. I played a semi-final up here at Suncorp in my last year of the younger grades, and I just got picked up by a Queensland Cup team in Brisbane, winner Manly. So I just sort of had a look at what options I had on the table, and closer to home as well. Yeah. Sort of, it made sense.
Oh, nice.
And
then what did life look like then? If you're running at that pace, it's often that, from what I've observed, people don't just switch. Mm-hmm. That pace kind of maintains. What did the pace look like when you then moved to Brisbane?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
So the same training format, like Queensland Cup's one below NRL. So, it was the same as what I was doing, but now I was against men, not guys that are 20 and under. So, got belted a few times and got taught by the guys that have been doing it for 5 years longer than me that, this is how tough you've got to be. But same thing, I'd work all day, train all night, go home, do it again.
Okay. And then what sort of work, because if you were down in Sydney for 4.5 years, 5 years, you then now imagine got your cabinet making trade. And then what did you, because at some stage you switched over and started doing carpentry?
Yeah.
Okay.
I moved into carpentry in Sydney. Okay. So started sort of getting experience. I didn't start an exact apprenticeship, but I started getting the experience in that and then kicked it back off in Brisbane. And that was more just about, one, I was getting sick of just working in a factory and getting a little bit of site experience every now and then. Yep. I enjoyed the carpentry aspect. I saw chippies around. Didn't quite know. I knew, but being out in the sun all day and then going to work is a different feeling from being in the factory. You're definitely more zapped and it's a lot harder.
Out on site in the sun?
Being out in the sun for the same amount of hours and then training. And but I guess the benefit was a lot of the guys in Queensland Cup were doing that. There's a lot of guys that were chippies. There's a lot of trades.
Makes a big difference when, even if the expectation is very high, if you are around others where that is what they're doing,
it's the norm.
Your brain's ability to accept that for norm is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And very useful when you have to perform at that level consistently.
And just seeing the guy next to you with the same sunburnt tan lines. You've done what I've done today, so let's get in the trenches together. It builds a bit of a bond. You're all going through the same thing. I moved up here and kept the same schedule. Second injury popped up. I tore my rotator cuff and had shoulder reconstruction. That was my first year here. So, went through that.
And this, I mean, I've never played sport at such a high level. But when you play at this high level, and this kind of rough sport, is it that in combination? Is it the level of is how much you're putting yourself through every day, every week? Is that what causes? And why do some people get 17 injuries and some get 2?
Yeah, that's
clear answer.
That's where I talk about luck. I think some people and I know a few guys that incredibly lucky in terms of not a single injury, not even a little ligament strain, nothing. They got through the whole career with nothing.
Wow.
So, and then I know guys who had much worse than me. They come back, first game back from an ACL, they do the same ACL again. Like I had guys in Sydney that did exactly that. And then they came back from that one and did the other one. It's it's just, and that's where I guess where I'm talking about luck, but it's definitely, you're just putting your body through more than it should handle. Like work a physical job all day, then train all night, and then you got to back up on the weekend. So we would play a Sunday, go to work on Monday morning, be there at 6:30 and kick off.
Bright and cheerful.
Being somewhat happy. You're a little bit stiff and sore, but you don't really have a choice. You can't call up every Monday and have Monday off.
No way. Why do you think, you maybe have given this plenty of thought, why were you so eager to give something like this so much of your energy and time and life?
I think I've definitely thought about that a fair bit, particularly the year you retire, you sort of reflect and think about because 12 years. I did it for 12 years. So there's a lot of time and effort. And you do look back and you kind of go, what was I doing? And the only thing I could really pinpoint is more of I started something, so not getting to where I want to be is a failure. Okay. I think that's where a lot
do you
of
feel like you got to something?
I definitely got to a point I didn't get to where I wanted to be, and I think that's why I kept pushing, because I was like, I haven't done that yet. I was lucky enough to play a couple NRL trials, but I never got an actual game. Yeah. And then, playing NRL I could have gone to England after that, and there was other doors that would open. And I think that's what kept me sort of motivated for it. But back of your mind, it's just literally, if I can't get to where my goal is set, it's a failure. I've failed. I had to really deal with that at retirement, because that is now it's over, and I didn't make it. It was pretty rough.
How did you work through that mentally?
I still work through it. No, you just, at some point, rugby league is a good one in a sense, because your body does give up.
Yeah.
Like there's a point where you cannot do it anymore. You just can't keep up. Some people that's 25, some people that's 35. Like I come through at Manly with Daly Cherry Evans, he's still playing. Given he's had much more rest days and much more, professional help in recovery than what I got. But, it's a different timeline for everyone. There's guys that retire in their early 20s.
I know we'll jump more into it, but while on this topic, when you look back now and see what you've created and the opportunities that you have created and are creating for the next generation, can you reflect differently and go, maybe it's a good thing, maybe look what I've been able to transition my energy into?
Yeah, well, I think like thinking back on it, trying to start a building business now, again, verse 27, very different story, way more difficult, I think, particularly post-COVID and things like that. It's a different landscape now than what it was when I kicked off. So, I still believe everything does happen for a reason. It's hard to, the world's full of questions and no answers. So it's a tricky one. You just kind of got to believe that did happen for a reason, and I'm where I am now because that happened. Kind of.
Oh, for sure. I believe it. And I think, again, with what I've read and experienced and talked to people, it's a choice. You can choose that is for a reason. I get to choose that, hey, that's been a really great learning environment for this next step. No doubt you can pull on, like you said, pull on all of your lessons of resilience, pull on all of those lessons of perseverance to achieve what you have achieved to date and will continue to go on to do. And teaching your guys, that's a big thing from what I've heard, teaching younger guys on site to have that same level of perseverance.
And I think definitely my football career and, the resilience, the determination and drive that I built, perfect example, and I know everyone harps on about it, but like the COVID period, I literally outworked a problem. So, it was a rough time. It was a rough period for every builder I know. No one got through unscathed. But for me to be able to pull myself together and go, all right, well, if it's 7 days, if it takes 7 days a week for 2 years, which I pretty well worked 7 days a week for 2 years, that's what it takes.
Wow. Let's add some context and then we'll go into that period, because there's definitely a lot of learnings that came out of that for you. So you finished up your footy career and then you go full-time into at what stage did Frameology start?
Frameology actually started when I was on the Sunshine Coast. So after Wynnum, I signed like a development / NRL deal with Melbourne Storm. So I played a couple of trials with Melbourne and I was actually very close to a debut. But I had like this groin issue that continued for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, the whole preseason, and I played 6 games or something. And it got to a point where I couldn't run. So I went out onto the field to warm up. It was a pre-game warm-up. So, well, not pre-game. It was the day before, so captain's run. And I was walking out to the field and my groin I was in agony every game. I couldn't walk all week and then I could play. And my coach knew that and we sort of just kept pushing it along. And I just remember stepping foot onto the field and I went to lift my leg to run and my body wouldn't do it. Which is pretty scary.
As in like you're telling your leg move and it's not.
I was looking at my leg and in my mind saying run, and I couldn't run. Like I could not even get into a jog. And at that point I knew something was really, really wrong. But yeah, it was a pretty wild moment. I literally just, started crying and hit the deck, and I kind of at that point was like, oh, this is it. Like this is the moment for me where I have to say goodbye to this. So yeah, it was a pretty brutal moment, but I'll never forget the looking at my legs saying, just run. Like, why?
Yeah.
It was
Why is the
interesting.
bottom half of my body detached from the top half? Man.
So it turns out shredded abdominals and bilateral groin reconstruction is what I needed. So, yeah. So I got some healthy scars in my groin now to remember that one. So, that was essentially the retirement. And at that point, that's when we sort of kicked off Frameology.
Okay.
I was on the Sunshine Coast and building a house anyway for myself and my partner. So, we just finished that and, rolled on with it.
Wow.
Just with small jobs, like we started bathroom renos, contracting for other builders, just doing their frames and things like that.
That's definitely very common in terms of the young guys that we talk to, because often we get a lot of young guys reaching out in regards to this video and just going, hey, when I like what you guys are doing, when is a good time to start with you? Where should I start with marketing, or where do I and they want to be doing jobs like you're doing, but they're doing the sort of small stuff. I thought I'd just raise that because I think a lot of guys beat themselves up going, I'm not getting anywhere, but that seems like it's a very normal place to start.
100%. Yeah. Everyone starts there. There's not too many builders you can talk to that started on $1 million project. Like it's literally a deck, a bathroom renovation, a carport, and I'm not talking like they did 3 of those and then moved up. They're years of those. Yeah. And I definitely did. I had a mixture of my own jobs and contracting for other builders like the first 2 years.
Okay. That's kind of where I want to sort of focus on. I'm sure we'll progress into the COVID times. Yeah. Working the smaller jobs. In the chat we had a few weeks ago, there were some key things that you began to do to very actively transition from smaller jobs to larger jobs. Talk us through that. And was that something you were waiting to do it, or you had a light bulb moment, or how did you begin? Talk us through that transition journey from small to larger.
Yeah, well, I think probably the biggest lessons I had was just working for other builders. So I was seeing what they were doing, and I was a contractor, so I was in no way employed by them. I literally come in and hand me the plans and say, well, here you go, mate. So I got to see what they were doing, how they were doing things, what doesn't work, what I didn't like as the guy trying to run the job. It just pushed me to do some research myself, really. Just how can I set my thing up better?
Your thing being your business?
My business, yeah. So just around, how can I manage jobs? How can I make sure the client's informed? Things like that. And they're pretty big numbers when you reach out to these companies. Like back then for me, it was Co-Construct, who are now owned by Buildertrend. But like it was a couple of $100 a month. And for me, that was a huge, it still is a decent amount of money. And I was like I really had to decide whether this was what I was going to do. Like it was essentially coming out of my own salary, which was like, I paid myself $50,000 a year for the first 2 or 3 years. So it wasn't a lot of money already.
And then you're having to dig out of that further to put something in place that I'm sure at that period of time doesn't feel like...
It was unproven.
Unproven, but it's also like to start, and this, I know this is a big part of the strategy you had, but when you're doing like decks, do I really put a piece of software like this in place?
Yeah.
Compared to, okay, I'm running 3 multi-million-dollar jobs. Yeah, you really do need software there. Talk me through how you justified that investment.
It's a really strange one. For me, it was just like a little thing in the back of my head that was just, this is what you need to do if you want to be where you want to be. This is something you're going to need. Yeah. And I just started putting little bits of data away. Like the data that I had back then were based on small jobs. So it seemed like a nothing of a system and a waste. And there's definitely moments where I was like, do I actually need this? I'm not using it to its fullest because I can't, because I don't have the jobs that are that size. So I definitely had a few moments of like, do I just get rid of this and go to spreadsheets and whatnot? But the way a lot of these companies work is...
And the builders that you were involved with, sorry to cut you off, the builders that you were involved with and getting experience with, did they have this sort of stuff in place, or were they using spreadsheets? Or
not that as a contractor, I wouldn't get access to any of it. It's literally, here's the plan, tell us when you need some stuff. Good luck. Which is wild for a builder to get a young bloke.
I remember you mentioning one guy who would literally say, "There's the plans.
Here's the plan.
Let me know when it's done."
Yep. And that was kind of what was happening everywhere.
Okay.
So it's a pretty wild experience and at that time, he wasn't giving me $2 million jobs. Like they were $500,000, $700,000, something like that. But
that's a lot. But that's a lot back then.
Yeah. And in my mind,
job
I just found that was insane that someone would, and like this first one I got with him, I didn't really know him that well. So for him to grab me and go, "Here you go, mate. Good luck with it. Like, let me know if you've got any dramas." Like that to me was wild. And like, I didn't tell the clients I was a contractor or whatever. As far as they knew, I was part of that build team, and I sort of made sure it stayed that way. But yeah, in my mind, I was just like, you got 28-year-old running this job that you've known for a month. And we'd see him maybe once a month, come out and go, "How's it all going?" "Yep, good. Okay, see ya."
Wow.
And that was quite common.
Okay. But grateful for that experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It got me, I guess, just access to trades and stuff and like.
And starting to build relationships.
Yeah, I had relationships with guys that I would then later on use. And I was, at that point, I had just moved from the Sunshine Coast back to Brisbane, so I didn't know anyone. I was lucky to even land that job doing that for him. So, and I just saw it as an opportunity to learn because I could see the sort of stuff they were doing. But I didn't realize I wasn't going to have too much access or mentorship or training with it. It was a figure it out yourself sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And so then back to you doing the sort of, when you went full-time Frameology, then doing the sort of smaller jobs, and you started putting these systems and processes and software in place. And then what years are we sort of sitting at here roughly?
Like 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one thing you mentioned to me was, which I found pretty different tack that I've heard from a lot of builders, but also ahead of its time, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Doing what you're doing back in 2019 in terms of seeing other builders are having their little rant about architects and that these designs are no good or they're not spec'd up properly or just complaining. And your approach that you shared with me was more one of, okay, how about I just reach out and see how I can help? What problems are these architects having and how can I help solve that? Why? Why do it? Why? I mean, in hindsight, and it's like, oh, that's way better. It makes sense, but it wasn't the norm. Yeah. And sometimes it still isn't the norm. It's very easy to blame or scapegoat or, why that approach? And how did you find what did you find when you began that approach?
The reason for it, I just saw something that was missing. There wasn't the collaborative relationship or the teamwork between designer and builder. And it was going both ways. Builders are whinging about architects are whinging about builders. I just sort of looked at it and went, well, I don't have any architectural jobs or I want to get there and there's nothing on my pipeline at the moment apart from a couple of small things. So I essentially reached out originally just to say, hey, this is something you need to know. This is how I run my ship. What can I help you with something? Have you got a small job you want me to do for you? Is there someone like your builders, are they not wanting to do a bathroom that you've got for whatever reason? Yeah. I'll do it for you. Like, no problem. And you can see how I work and operate and let's go from there.
Was there any fear or anxiety reaching out or hesitancy?
For sure. Yeah. And no responses from a lot.
Many.
Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe three out of 100. So,
wow.
And I was building designers, draftees,
architects.
And I got it. Like they probably get a heap of those. And they probably still do. They probably get more now than what they were at that time. And they're busy as well. They're all business owners. They're the same issues that I have. So, and I was just lucky in two ways. My partner knew an architect, Beck from Matrix Studios, and she was kind of like, look, I've got a bathroom for a friend that I architecturally designed. So then I was like, well, let's go, let's do it. Real terrible site, terrible access on a main road, really, really difficult, underpriced it extremely, most likely.
Was this, because you mentioned a story with me to me the other day when we were chatting, and it was Beck, the architect, you invited out to come see one of your projects? And
not Beck, no. So I did this one for her, finished it, didn't make any money because of all the other issues that I didn't account for. But great job, client's happy architect. I had another designer do similar. I got a bathroom for you. I said, sweet, I'll do it. I did that. It was architectural spec, but just a bathroom. And this one, we fully cut the floor out, dropped the floor so it was a flush transition. Like we went above and beyond probably what I had even allowed for, but I knew it was the end result of what they wanted. From that one, Beck reached out again and said, hey, I've got a friend who now has a $200,000 extension. So same approach. I just above and beyond. There's things that I spent time and money on that I know that I hadn't allowed enough for, but I knew the end result was what was going to get me to the end. From there, I utilised that slightly bigger job to bring out some architects and have a look. And
on that job, you were running?
There was me, apprentice, and a tradie.
But you were also, I think from memory, if my memory is correct, you were sort of over optimized, or what's the word? Over your processes and systems and software that you were running at that stage for that project was like way beyond what you needed.
Correct.
And you walked the architects sort of through that, and they found that pretty impressive. That's where we got the next architect, which is Julie from Plot. Took her through the job. What do you think they were most impressed with? And what did you, when you invited them out, what were you wanting them to see and appreciate most?
Well, the workmanship was the first one. Because it was a hard time, and this is right when sort of COVID, that first job, that $200,000 job, was when COVID hit. I literally started it with price rises, and I was locked in. It was a locked in job. So, just for one, I wanted to see her that through all the challenges that we've dealt with, the quality is still here, and it's a beautiful home, and it still features in many things, considering it's a small renovation. And then secondly, I needed an opportunity to get someone to see the quality and then the system that helped create that quality. So, took Julie through how we do things. And for her, I think, one, she was happy with, she liked the quality and she liked some of the cool colours and features in the house, which we didn't design. We just brought it to fruition. But the transparency in my system is what Julie liked.
Can you talk me through a bit more detail just of that experience? Because this is something I find sometimes I'll talk to some of our guys wanting to level up and say, cool, man, there's opportunity on one of your projects. Invite out some designers and architects that you've been trying to reach out to. Now you get something more tangible to get them to come and see. And talk me through just what did the conversations sound like when you invited them? Were they keen? And did you have a set, I'm being very detailed here, a set agenda? I want to show them this, explain this. I want to show them this. What does that look like? Because I think some of the guys I talk to, and I'm not really boots on ground there and know enough to tell them exactly what sort of how to go about it. But I think some of them have that imposter syndrome maybe. And it's like, well, what do I actually show? They're going to come and they're going to look at it and be like, yeah, we're working really hard. And so then there's that block, and so then they don't even make the invitation. You have to put your real estate agent hat on. So it's a general walkthrough, but you're pointing out the details that aren't seen from a general just viewing. If there's any little aspects that you've done that are above and beyond, they're the things that you're showing. You're not showing, hey, look how cool this door is. It's a cavity slider, whoop-de-doo.
it's anything else. Like ours, we had a ceiling recess cavity slider that was a fairly new cavity slider on the market that I'd found, the Tornex system. So like showing like how neat our miters are on our tiles, just like all those little things that, the fact that all of our door heads line up, those little things is what they care about. They don't care about that's a cool tile. Like they're selecting those sort of tiles for their projects anyway.
Yeah.
So it was those little intricate details that, and most like the architects when they come through, they're fairly straight faced. They're not wowed by it. They see it all the time. So you're not showing them, you're not expecting them to come and go, wow, oh my God. Like I'm talking, she's doing $1 to $2 million projects at that time. So I'm bringing her to a $200,000 one and trying to point out some things that we did. But like simple things, like I did a herringbone floor in the bathroom, a chevron, and the line of the chevron lines up with the tile grout line in the bathroom. So like an exact line through. So those little things that we did that someone else would just lay a floor and not care whether those lines lined up.
Yeah.
Those things that I made sure to point out. Like we are detailed. We do think about these things. I think that's probably what, and if builders are doing this with architects, that's what they have to focus on.
And then on the software side, what were you showing her there?
So the software side, I just showed her a few bits and pieces, a couple of pages of how we do things, how we run things. It was that then got us a meeting in her office. And that's where I brought my laptop, pulled up the system, showed her.
So she was intrigued to learn more about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just gave her a little bit to look at and then said, well, we can talk. Like, I'm happy to come out to you. I'll grab you a coffee or whatever, and we'll go through how we do things, the process. And that's kind of where we went from there.
Epic. Awesome. Yeah. And so because the next cool thing is the opportunity that came from that, and then the opportunity came from that.
Yeah.
Talk us through that, because that's, I think it's just a great case study for, So you had the meeting with her, had a coffee, walked her through the system. She was clearly impressed.
Yep.
Thought, this is the way that you operate. That's the kind of builder we really want to be working with. Makes her job easier, smoother, less friction between you and the client and her and all that. And what came out of that?
Once again, what we wanted to show her was that she was involved. We're not a builder with a system that she can't see. So she had her own login. She could log in. She could see everything that's going on. It was once again we're not headbutting over things. We're coming together. We'll find solutions. You can see things. We've got nothing to hide. So from there, she essentially went, I've got the client for you. He was a project manager, so very detailed. Basically said, look, can you have a look at this and give us a rough estimation, see what you think. And because I had so much data, look, I didn't have a lot of data on that. It was a raise and build under extend pool in Paddington, like biggest job that we would have had, over $1.2 million. The biggest job before that, I think, was 500,000. So quite a big step.
Yeah. But the previous size job that you'd done with her was the 200.
It was the first one.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
To see that 200 get put a 1 comma in front of it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And this is when a lot of people were harping on about free quotes, not doing free quotes and charging and this and that. And like everyone, you sort of struggle to get your head around the quality and the value you can bring. So I did a free quote. They asked me for a ballpark and I did an entire quote, free, all the line items, everything done within a couple of weeks, and met the client and Julie at her office and presented it. And essentially. Did
they want you to come in and present, or were you insistent that I want to come in and actually present?
I insisted.
Excellent.
Because we give so much information, it's pretty hard to get your head around. And I knew he would, because he's a project manager. He would understand it to a degree, but to actually talk it out and explain what matches to what and why things are where they are.
Yeah.
I met Glenn and Rosie, and at the end of that, they gave me a couple of things that they wanted to adjust for price, and then they were sold. They were good to go. So
amazing.
That was a quick turnaround too. I think we started in a month or two after that. So
epic.
Yeah, it's wild.
And then what's it been like? Okay, so it was at the start of COVID.
So that was we started 2022. Yeah. So it'd been a few jobs in between.
You alluded to some of the challenges that you faced through COVID, like many other guys.
Yeah.
Talk me through those and talk me through how you navigated that and what it looked like out the other end.
Yep. So I think the biggest issue with that whole situation was the government grant. Obviously, people were getting, half-done plans just to try and get a builder to quote and lock them down and whatnot.
Because there was a deadline to the grant. Yeah.
Deadline was midnight. Yeah, Christmas Eve. No, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of builders like me, I was just like everyone else, made the same mistake. Quoted a bunch of things real fast and signed a bunch real fast.
Yeah.
So then the ongoing year or two after that, you were locked into these things. And there were probably, looking back, there's a lot of things I could have done to lessen that. It was just that a lot of us are people pleasers, so we just try not to rock the boat, and we're just trying to get the best job we can get done.
Yeah.
We knew generally clients were already overstretched. Okay. So once again, just trying to people please, and we'll take this one, we'll help you.
Yeah.
So essentially, I pulled back a little bit of staff, and then as I mentioned before, I literally worked 7 days a week for 2 years. I just tried to outwork it. So generally, all the extra hours I did above and beyond what I'd pay myself a week it was free. So free money, get the job done. Doesn't cost the business anything. Might
be a silly question. Why? Talk me through your concept of outwork.
Yep.
What are you outworking and why?
So every minute of labour I did that my staff weren't was free. Okay. Because I paid myself enough to survive, and the rest of it was to keep the company afloat.
Okay. And this is because in that time, like many people would be aware, you'd have a lock-in price and then price went up by the time you procured something or...
Yeah, so with a lot of the a little bit larger construction projects, the quotes that you get are still only 30 days valid. And in that time, they were all doing 7 days, because their prices were changing so quickly that they were hitting us for 7-day quotes. Essentially, there's nothing you can do about it. You're locked in. If you didn't have a provisional sum on something, that was, And there are ways, you could have had rise and fall clauses and things like that, but they're very hard to, if it went to court, they're very hard to get through.
Yep.
My mentality was every extra hour I could work was was however much saved. And that's just what I did.
7 days a week, 2 years.
Yeah. And it was initially not aimed to be that long.
Never is.
Yeah. But you do just get through the work. So it was, I was very lucky. My partner was, she understood it. She got it. She knew what it was about. She was generally okay with it. It was just a really, and I was pretty upfront with her. I said, this is a period that we're just going to have to go through, and we've got to go through it. There's no, and I'm a part of Builders Breakfast as well. Dwayne and some of those guys are in, and the stories that were coming from that group, guys that were almost breaking down at a breakfast table just because it's so hard. Guys that were getting out of the industry, guys that were like, no, I'm going to travel Australia. I've just had enough.
When you look back at those experiences and just your career, how important was it be going to those breakfasts and having other guys to talk to about this sort of stuff?
Well, that was when I first started going to the breakfasts. So it was during that period. I had reached out to Dwayne at one point and just said, I see you've got these breakfasts. Do you mind if I come along? And as he does and is, come along for sure. And I've actually met at that period some of the builders that I know really well now.
Wow.
We still go every month. So we've got one this week.
Oh, cool.
It's like the relationships you get there of people that are going through the exact same thing, either have been through it, going through it, or are going to go through it, and to just be able to talk openly. The advice that you get in that group that you would not get otherwise is, you just can't put a price on it. And the group's free, so
That's amazing.
Buy a coffee, sit down and chat. Yeah,
priceless.
That group definitely got me through. I didn't get to all the breakfasts in that period because it was so busy, and I probably missed half a year or 3/4 of the year of them. Just because it was that work mentality that I had at that time. I was like, guys just can't come.
Yep.
And we still see it now. Like a lot of guys are just so, no, can't come. I got this.
Yeah.
There's periods. Everyone has periods of you just can't.
Totally.
You can't get there.
Totally.
And like that was an hour, it was an hour breakfast and I was like, I just can't get there. I don't have an hour spare. That's a pretty wild mentality to have.
Yeah.
So,
and so with that approach that you took through that period, what, because you've shared with me some of the impact that you think that had on some of the relationships, positive impact, especially with some of the architects you worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Talk me through that. What, at the end of those 2 years, what position did you find yourself in?
Well, for one, architects talk as well. They're just like builders. Some builders don't get along, some do. Architects, it's the same thing. So like the positive benefit for us was we were getting jobs done for the price we said it would be done at and on time, most of the time ahead of schedule. And sort of, they meet up at an event and say, oh, who are you using? Oh, Frameology. Oh, yep. This was our experience. It was great. And, I think Julie was really good for us in that period. She was going to events and, people were asking how we were and she was saying we were great, to her detriment, because then they come and go, hey, can you do a job for us? But you can't align yourself with one, and they're the same.
Absolutely.
They can't be seen as just having one builder on, that they reference work out to. And I think for that, the fact that we had a couple then that could say these guys did what they said they would do on time, on budget, wasn't a hassle. They just got the job done. That probably was the biggest win that we got out of the entire thing. Was we were all of a sudden we're trusted now.
You had a really strong reputation.
Yeah.
That's it was really cool to hear that, because it's when you put all that effort in to making sure that your reputation is intact. You'd like to think that it always has the outcome that you want. And most of the time it should, and it does. It just that the time doesn't always, and it also doesn't mean that you're not going to have a bad day. You have a great reputation, but still have tough days.
Yeah, for sure. And for most builders out there, and I'll be very real, and I'm real with, there's a couple of builders that I mentor and stuff, the losses in that period, even though I worked how I did, was like $200K.
Wow.
So they're not small numbers for a small builder either. It's
and that was with you doing all that extra.
With me doing everything, yeah. Yeah, the amount of money I had to put back in, just for it all to work. And that's one thing that I like to be transparent about with young guys as well. I'm like, this is the real, this is a real thing here that you're dealing with. This can happen at any time to anyone.
Yeah.
Did
how much of that was shared with, let's say, your team or apprentices? Because sometimes young guys, it's very easy to come and go, oh, look, Matt's making all this money. He's, when really Matt's working 10 times harder than you. You're sleeping and he's working.
Yeah.
Do you think they saw that? Or did you share with them?
I'm pretty transparent with all the boys. I'd keep it open and honest. Even through that period, I had a heap of counselling as well, and I would tell them, this is what I'm doing. If any of you need help for whatever reason as well, just so you know, it's okay. And I've kept it pretty transparent. I obviously keep things close when I'm stressed, and there's things going on, because that's not what I want to pass on. And totally, one of our apprentices actually, he mentioned it. He was like, look, I don't even know when you are upset or things are going wrong. You just seem like a normal dude every day. And that to me was a compliment. I was like, well, that's exactly what I was after. I want you to know.
On Friday, I feel like Karen Rogerson mentioned that idea of just being mindful of the impact and the energy that you bring.
Yeah.
And definitely for a builder, what energy are you bringing to site to your guys? I imagine it's a funny juggle of being transparent, being honest, so they can feel like this is a safe environment. And you mentioned that as well, the importance of making sure that they feel safe, as opposed to you breathing down their neck, is the difference of like huge lost efficiency on site, like their ability to work at their optimum if they're feeling safe, versus if you're breathing down the neck, then you're losing. I don't know, I'm not sure if you gave a percentage, 30%, like you lose some. Yeah,
it's definitely one of those things that I'm mindful of. It's like we've all been in that position ourselves where someone's breathing down a neck, or like the amount of stories I've heard from young guys saying, you know, the builder would just rock up and crack and then he'd be off again. And like that's an issue for the entire industry if that's happening, because those apprentices don't want to do this anymore. They're out. Why would I go to work to this? I can go and make TikToks and, you know.
I'm not sure if we even discussed this, but yeah, that's a big thing is, I'm not sure what podcast I heard it on, but that stat that 50% of the apprentices are not finishing. So the numbers of intake still look good, but the number of finishing is halved.
And 51.9% of vacant jobs are going unfilled in trades. So like...
How's the Olympics going to happen?
Well, there's enough money in some of those projects, I guess. It's residential will struggle because they'll be pinching trades. They'll be pinching staff. I think it'll have a detrimental effect on pricing in residential. A lot of builders are going to have to pay their staff more to stay, which the client pays for, obviously. Yeah, wow. How important is culture then when it comes to keeping guys around so they're not chasing money? It's the most important thing. It's one of the only reasons we get the guys we get. Like when we put an ad up, we might get 10 guys apply straight away. We put one looking for an apprentice just the other day. We got one in 10 minutes. Whoa. Straight away. So, And you've had a chat with him since? I haven't had a chat with him yet. He's just sent his resume through yesterday. But because that's something I always find fascinating to look at, because in terms of what we help our guys with, we often recommend that's one thing I want to still discuss with you in terms of marketing. I think you do a fantastic job of that. But a lot of what we do for our guys, they don't make the time or have the capacity to do what you do. And so we help them where we do. But putting their stories, their videos out there, even like their company story, putting that on the job ad and whatnot, you can very quickly ascertain whether this person's even watched that when they turn up. Just the way they talk, they interact at that interview, and you can seriously cut down that sort of filtering. But I'll be interested to know when you do chat with him, how he comes across. You know, has he been following you for a while? Has he been waiting for this opportunity to come for a while, or was it just Well, a lot of our followers are the trades, to be honest, or generally we'll see a client follow us about a month or two before we hear from them. But generally there are other trades or, other builders, mates of guys that work for us. So this kid actually went to school with our apprentice. And he's been waiting for us to post about a job. Because whenever people reach out to me, I say, put a notification for our stories and you'll see a story. We don't do seek ads. We don't do anything like that, but you'll see a story, respond to it, and I'll get back to you. So that's how we get most of our guys. That's good. And the fact that, we put our guys on our videos. When we put stuff on Instagram, we have apprentices talking. We have like everyone talk. It's not me. I've only done one or two, but the rest of them are the team. That's one thing I really like to hear when you shared that with me. That idea of, and you integrate that big into your marketing, but it's also part of your culture. That idea of giving responsibility to these guys to start creating. Let's jump into that. Let's jump into marketing, because that's a big. You see marketing as it's not just the business marketing, but part of that is also your personal brand, but also the personal brands of each of your guys. Where's that perspective on things? Because that's not a common perspective. I'd say I've come across 2 other builders so far that do that. Why? And it's just the psychology of it, I guess. It's these guys are sweating, bleeding, buggered, they're tired, they're dirty, they're doing all these things for these beautiful homes. And from what I saw in the market, none of them were getting recognition for it. the builder would go out, and you hear all these stories where the builder rocks up, throws his nail belt on for the video, takes it off, heads off. And that's just not something I wanted to do. I wanted to be, once again, transparent in the way that this is going. And I don't wear a nail belt anymore. Like, I'll go and sweep, or I'll do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I don't actually nail every nail in. I'm not cutting myself open on all these things. And, the amount of times the boys have hit their thumbs, they've done all these things. So the least I can do is let them speak about what they're doing. It does create their own sort of profile, their own persona online as well. Some of them do want, some don't. But that's my little give back of, hey, like, you're actually putting in the hard yards, you're doing the work. Let's make it so that people can see your face. Yeah. If you want to talk about what you're doing and you're passionate about it, let's put you in front of it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. The other side of it, and I know you know this, but is the psychology of, once they start putting their name to it publicly like that, then the level of care that they put in, the level of responsibility that they take for that to be done right, is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking a piece of that home, and that's something. And I spoke to them all about this. It's something you should be proud of. You're building homes that not a lot of people will get to build. Like, people don't get to build stuff like this, and there's only one of this home. And you get to drive past this in 20 years and say you built that. It's just the recognition, and they are proud of it. They just don't have a platform where they can speak about it, because most people don't want to just go on their own platform, like their own social media, and talk about a house that they just built. But if I can give that to them, an
environment that where it's encouraged.
Proud. Yeah. And they're seeing comments of people saying, this is amazing, this is awesome.
Yeah. I think it's so important, because then they fall in love with more of what they do, which means they're going to stick around longer, whether it be, longer on site that day or just longer in this career. Because they can't go home and talk that excitedly about what they do, because maybe the person at home or at the barbecue that weekend isn't as interested, but to have a platform where you get to talk very passionately about what you do and what you've been a part of and what you've built, and that's awesome, I think.
Yeah, and they do get excited, because we try and share it around a little bit, and some love it more than others. Some just don't do it, which is, we don't care. Who wants to do it today and the excited ones are, yep, I'll do it. Yeah. We've sort of got those couple now that every time they're like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, people are going to start thinking you're the builder soon. Make sure you say you're apprentice. Yeah. It's just funny. It's just that extra little bit of excitement.
That's clearly there's a passion there for you, helping these young guys who aren't just a part of your business. Are you happy to talk about some of the stuff that you help guys outside Frameology? Talk us through what you're involved in outside that.
Well, generally, just as a starter, anyone that wants to catch up with me, there's a Friday morning so actually before that, we only work a 4-day week, my guys on site. So they have 4 10-hour days. They get a long weekend every week. When there's a Monday off, they get an extra long weekend. It's just once again, just something that I've swapped out for their work-life balance. They work hard when they're at work. They get a longer break.
That 4-day week, sorry to interject there. I know one other guy in Australia that I've met so far that has shared with me that he does a 4-day week, and he said it had a big shift in, he was hoping for it, but he was, let's say, condemned a lot from guys around him. Go, that's not going to work. You can't do that. That won't work. Whatever. And he saw an increase in areas that he didn't, an improvement in areas that he didn't expect. What did you see when you changed over?
Productivity is definitely better. One thing I saw immediately, which I didn't actually think about, was there's one less pack up and set up a day, which is the job that every tradie hates, because you do it every day. So there's not that wasted time there as well of a set up pack up. And then the boys are just happier. Like, I've asked them several times, we've been doing this for 2 years, and I've asked several times, do you want to go back to a 5-day? What do you think? And it's a straight no.
You're a man on your data. Do you have a rough idea of how many hours you save by taking away that set up, pack up on a Friday?
It's tricky. Because it depends on how many tools they have out or what tasks they're doing. It's quite difficult, but you'd be looking at minimum hour and a half per week. that is just saved.
Wow.
And because we pay them to do it as well. So for us, then there's an hour and a half of doing that now they're doing actual work.
Yeah.
So then you could probably double it. It's 3 hours. So 3 hours a week, essentially, of extra productivity that we would have lost. So
Wow.
yeah,
No one really looks at it like that.
roughly. Yeah.
But that idea of going to 4-day work week, you're actually creating more efficiency.
Yeah. And the boys have a better life. So it works both ways. And if it didn't, we probably wouldn't still do it, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, just derail there. So Fridays don't work. So what do you offer on Fridays, or what do you do on Fridays?
So yeah, I've done a fair bit of it, but most builders can reach out to me, and a Friday morning I can catch up for a coffee. Yeah. They throw any questions at me, anything that I've done that they're looking at or they want to do. I just give them a straight, this is how I do it. You know, any questions they have, they just run them by me. Like I set it up. I make them book in a time. This is where it is. Make sure you've got all your questions and everything's set for us. We don't want to just sit down and talk about the weather.
And it's one-on-one, or there's a few guys there?
Yep. So I do one-on-one. Most Fridays, depending on who wants to reach out and whatnot. But just go through my story, what I did, what I'm doing now, what I think they could do. Yeah. Once again, I say I'm not an expert. This is what I've done to get here. And, you know, most of the time I'm meeting up with guys that are early on in becoming a builder. Like they're experienced, but they've just become a builder, or they're a year in, or they're a couple of years in and they just need some sort of advice, I guess, on where we should head.
When you're talking to that sort of person, a couple of years in, and maybe they feel like they're just going around in circles and they can't break into or they can't evolve to, what do you find is often the biggest block there?
Most of them, well, especially early on, they're tied to the tools. That's one. And I don't shy away from that. I literally say that's what we all did. Yeah. It is. I know there's a lot of coaches out there now that say, you know, no, get off the tools. You got to work on the business, and you can't be working in and on at the same time. I disagree to a degree. There is a period where that's part of it. You're a business owner. Every business owner in any industry knows that feeling. So I don't shy away from that. Literally, the first thing is you're just going to be in for a hard slog for the next year or two. And then these are the things that you can do to start easing up time and load to work your way off. But generally, it's going to be a hard slog. You're in it for the hard slog. That's surely you didn't start a construction business thinking it was going to be easy.
Just getting collapsed by the pool.
Yeah, particularly if you've come through the trades, obviously, to get your license. So you know it's not easy.
Yeah. One thing, a quote that I really like from Alex Hormozy is when he's working with young guys that come in and they're working really hard and they're like, oh, this is, he said what he finds actually really helpful for them is like when you wanted to join this team, did you expect that it was going to be really easy? Like, oh, no. So you expected it like it'd be hard work. Yeah. This is what hard work feels like. And it's like as though they go, oh, that's okay. I'm not being overworked here. No, this is what hard work feels like.
It's just hard, yeah.
And that's accepted. That's what, you know, everyone is doing. Or if I want to get somewhere, that's what it looks like or feels like. Just normalizing that this is hard work.
Yeah, and that's a great way to put it, and that's most people should go and listen to that, whichever one that is, because it is literally, you don't know hard work until you started your own thing, and there's all these other elements that you now have to know. Like we all come from just a trade background, and you've got some idea, but you know, you've got HR, you've got insurances, you've got all these extra things that you need, marketing to a degree, like sales, there's all these things that are a part of it. So it is going to be hard. It's like when you first day of your apprenticeship, it's hard. You go home and you're buggered. It sucked. It's just, it's what happened. Yeah. So,
I hear from a lot of guys that every now and again, especially if they've really transitioned off the tools and it's been a period, then and something comes up where like they have to jump back on, or there's opportunity to help a mate out on a weekend who's building something, and they're just like, it was fun, but man, I've lost fitness, you know, just holding, you know, drilling up here, you know, up high above your head. They're just the forearm, the shoulders just don't have it anymore.
I did it before Christmas. I jumped on and did some trusses with the boys, and stupid me, I thought, I'll jump up on the truss, I'll walk on all the top plates and I'll do all the work. And I was absolutely cooked by the end of the day. I kept up the pace, but it was about ego and pride at that point, I think. I was cooked at lunchtime.
Yeah.
But continued through, and I think it's good for every builder to do that every now and then, because it gives you a perspective of, the boys are working hard regardless of whether you can see it moving like you thought it would.
Yeah.
It's a hard job, and, they're doing it day in, day out, whereas I jumped on. And obviously when you do it day in, day out, you get that fitness, and it is easier. It's still a hard job. Your body's still going through that every day. It's just a good perspective to get back out and jump on something, particularly something hard, and go, I get it.
Yeah.
Probably need a few more hours on the next quote for that. It's good.
Yeah.
But I was cooked. I could not move.
One thing you have said it's okay to discuss in this podcast is a different project. And would love to talk through that a little bit. It's exciting. It's in the works. It's coming. Maybe I'm going to let you talk about it rather than me, but it was something I wasn't expecting when you and I started chatting. And I feel like there's enough, in telling your story that's exciting. I think a lot of guys get a ton of value out, let alone this. What are you currently working on? How long have you been working on it, and why?
So one of my recent things, we're creating a software that takes away all of these little things that builders spend time on that they don't necessarily know or want to spend time on, or they're paying someone else to do it. Once again, I've used all these systems, even the system we're using now, we use Builder Trend, we use it to almost its best of its ability, and still things missing. There's still things that just you do every day that you're like, why am I doing this again? Why am I...
Right.
Like, this is just time, and it was just frustration. So.
And when you were sharing a bit about this with me just before we jumped on, I didn't realize the extent of it. And that's crazy. Your approach to, you should only have to do things once and the system will learn that's how you like it done. And it'll then prompt you the next time.
Yep. So generally after 3-4 jobs, it'll learn the exact way you do things. Obviously each job's slightly different depending on what sort of construction it is, but say you just do new homes and that's all you do, it will learn within 2-3 jobs exactly how you do, and your progress payments, it'll learn the schedules. If they're all the same, it'll literally prompt you every time. You tick a button, it'll say, would you like to send the invoice? And then it'll go to Xero and send it for you. It'll go to your email, send it for you.
That's crazy.
A lot of the systems now send an email from the system. Whereas we're sending it from your email account. So
that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, well, the whole AI automation is it's way more advanced than I even knew, and I researched a fair bit about it. And even now, some of the stuff, it changes every week. These guys come to us with a new thing they've come up with, and I'm like, that changes all these other things, guys. It's just that's how quick it has to move.
Wow. I'm sure that once it gets going, just talk of AGI or ASI or something like the artificial superintelligence or artificial general intelligence, and the idea that I'm sure that'll be incorporated at some stage into this, where one guy is doing something and he's not doing it as efficiently as it could be done, and the system's going, X percentage of our builders do it like this. Would you like to? It prompts you going, there's a more efficient way. There.
I think on the side of that as well, I definitely started something called Site to CEO. It's essentially what I do with the mentoring of the other builders, but it is going to be free training. So basically all of the things that we do in the system are generally free to a degree. The ultimate level will be, we'll automate it, jump on the system, and that'll all be automated now. Which is something where I wanted to give back. We don't just want to take. We want to, give back and give something
CEO
out.
is somewhat joined to this?
It's my own. It's separate. Look, it will funnel eventually. If you want to automate all of the systems, then this is where you go. But
makes sense.
Generally, if you're a young builder, and I would still say as a young builder, if you can spare the money for this system, if you do it at day dot, it'll be your whole building journey will be sped up and much easier, I would say.
That probably leads me into the final thing I'm really excited to discuss with you, because I know you're very passionate about it, and it's something that we want to start spreading more of a message about. And it was great to hear it kind of getting discussed a little bit at the Friday's event at the Level Up experience. But this idea of what's the next generation walking into, what's ahead of them. And so the question I'd like to put to you, and I know you've given thought to this, whether it be distinctly or just generally stuff you think about, what future do you foresee for someone now entering a trade? If we go typically the young guy, school age, going to do an apprenticeship, what future do you foresee for him? And wrapped up in that, I guess, is this an industry that is still worthwhile entering when you foresee the next 20 years? And what advice would you give them to navigate it?
I think depending on what market you're in, if you're in residential construction, I think it's going to be lucrative. It's based on the stats that we've already discussed about people not finishing apprenticeships, the amount of jobs that are going, still vacant. There will be a point where the prices will just be high because there's limited builders around. So I think as a young guy going into apprenticeship, I think finding the right builder who is willing to share the knowledge and has a lot of systems and things that you can learn would be beneficial. And like I always say to people, just be honest. If you're looking to go out and be a builder at some point, be honest with the builder you work for, because most of them don't care.
Okay.
Like there's a perception around, I'm just going to sack him, then he wants to be a builder. But that's the biggest trophy for me, is that if one of my guys goes through his apprenticeship with me, supervises through me, becomes a builder, and then is successful. That's a bigger trophy than any Master Builders or HI award for me, or that's my perception. But yeah, I think just you really got to find the right builder and learn as much as you can, because by the time you finish your trade and you're ready for a builder's license, it'll be a completely different industry. There'll be, there are going to be less builders.
Okay.
And, with a lot of the, there's going to be less, I guess, Australian builders too. We have a lot of international students coming over and learning, and
so you're seeing a lot of that as well?
A lot, yeah. Well, there's a lot being pushed. Like we're getting a lot of international students that, we get a lot that say we can only do 2 days, and it's because they're at international college, and I have no problem with that. I think we had to do something as a country, because there's a lot of young kids that aren't doing apprenticeships. So
I'm fascinated on that, because I've had a little bit of touch points in that space, but not a whole lot. So international, because I agree. There's like you said, 51.9 or something % of vacancy rate. So we need that filled to meet the capacity. Australia has a huge housing shortage, and we're just so far off meeting that.
Oh, for sure.
So these international, they're coming and they're doing international trade college or school, or
it's generally an international trade college. So they do that 3 days a week, and they're available to work 2 days.
Okay.
Which I don't necessarily agree with. I agree with, but I don't agree with. Like I think the more time on site, actual sites you get, the better tradesman you will become.
Okay.
I think it's doing a disservice to them, because they are paying a lot of money. Like a lot of international students or guys coming to do trades, or girls, paying a lot of money to do this, and they're only getting 2 days a week paid.
Yeah, right. And so how long are they doing that for? Is that a 4-year apprenticeship?
No, so they speed it up. I think it's like 2 years.
And then they finish that, and they're supposed to be
trade qualified.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things with that I disagree with. There's a lot of international students that are willing to work, and they work hard.
Okay. That was the next question I was going to ask. What do you find generally is the sort of culture and the attitude and approach from some of these international guys?
Well, we had a Japanese guy work with us. He not trade background at all. He's an architect in Japan. The training that he started with us after he'd done a couple of months at the trade school, and he just had zero knowledge of how Australian building goes together and things like that. So I think it's a poor environment. It's like the old TAFE trade blocks when you did your apprenticeship. I started my apprenticeship doing these trade blocks.
Yeah.
and you're just not getting the value that you get.
Is there a
being out on
solution
site.
for, let's say, like this guy? He has to go through a trade college because he's international?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the only way he can
That's
really
the
do it,
visa he's
essentially.
on, or that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's companies like Blue Dog and stuff out there, which we put our apprentices through that are all on site, and then you do your online portion of
Modules and
the
stuff.
theory.
Okay. Do they offer anything for international?
I'm not sure about that one.
Okay.
It's something they generally should.
Because I think if you can offer a really great, not you, just the industry can offer a really awesome pathway, then it's just, I can't see how it doesn't benefit everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, because these guys want to be. There's guys from the UK.
Yeah.
Like they want to work, but they can. Part of their visa and their training is they can only do, I think it's 20 hours a week.
Oh man.
And that's it. And for them, how do they live off that? Like,
yeah, no way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a broken setup, that one. And I do believe that is the way forward, like international students or trades. But we need to find a way to integrate them a little bit better. And we've even seen like a lot of plastering companies and stuff. They're using a couple of crews from China or like some Asian crews and stuff, and they work really hard and they really want to do the best job. So we need to make it easier for them to come on board and learn. So yeah, it's one big thing. But back, I guess we went away from the young guys. The biggest advice is just set up your systems early, start tracking data early. And probably another major thing that people forget is relationships. It's just with trades, with architects, with whoever, everything is about relationship.
Okay.
So it's you've got to stop looking things at a monetary, like a transaction. Not everything's a transaction. Some things are just about the relationship. I think that's
awesome.
Yeah, that'll help them go forward for sure.
So I'm hearing for young guys, yes, there's definitely a great future.
Oh yeah.
Potentially very lucrative due to the shortage coming. Be very careful and mindful of who you choose to work under and learn from. Be honest about your intentions. I want to learn from and one day do my own thing. Systemize, bring systems in place much earlier, and focus on building good relationships.
Yep.
Money will come.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Epic.
That's still what I do today. Yeah. They're pretty well the rules that I follow.
Timeless,
Yeah.
Matt, I want to say a massive thank you for coming down, for spending time, and just being so open and honest and transparent about your walk and your journey and the journey that you continue on, and really excited to see what comes from the software that's coming.
Yep.
If guys are interested to know more about it, I know you're not taking on guys right now, but if they want to know more or get in line, just gather information or have a chat with you about it, what's the best way to go about doing that?
You can reach out to me just on Instagram, really. The benefit is you'll be one of the first to crack it. Well, we've got a crew already, but you'll be first on the new system that I've got my hands all over. So,
Epic. Awesome, Matt. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.